Hello, welcome to AstroEnergy with Astrologer Angel Shelley Overton. Hello, and welcome to the April 11th, 2017 episode of AstroEnergy Astrology Show. My name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and I'm happy to be here with you. I'm excited for the show, and I do have to apologize for this week's episode. I actually had agreed to have a wonderful psychic and medium on air this week. His name is Leo Bonomo, and he has his own show on paramaniaradio.com. And I have been hit by Mercury retrograde, so I completely spaced out that I had agreed to do that. So he will be on next week's show, April 18th, and it is all set up in the information for the shows coming up, the schedule. And so I really hope you tune in next week because he is a wonderful psychic and medium, and we will do free readings with him next week. So this week we have a conjunction of the Sun and Uranus, and we've got a full moon tonight at 11:08 p.m. Pacific, and it's 2:08 a.m. Eastern Time here on the East Coast in Orlando. So it's a full moon in Libra at 21 degrees and 33 minutes. So it's, let's see, so that would be Libra. It's the Gemini decan. So that's going to be a lot of love flying around and love thoughts and duality, money issues, more than one opportunity for money coming in. As you know, we have Venus retrograde, and of course, having Moon in Libra, Venus is the ruler. So Venus retrograde at 27 Pisces means that we are going back over old love stories, old money issues, and generally the old stories coming back up for us to evaluate and go over, see whether or not we really want to have things change or if we want to go back to what was. That also means that it's an addictive quality. It's the person who triggers those addictions in you. And either it's codependence or brings out, can be abusive, emotional, mental, psychological, physical. And, whatever those stories were that might revolve around some addictive quality. Also, we have Neptune at 13 Pisces. So it's also in Pisces, very much setting in for the long haul. It's at 13, which is almost halfway through, but that means that it is in the Cancer part of the sky, the Cancer part of that particular 30 degrees. And so it's more about home and family. Oh, I take it back. No, I'm not. I go by that. And I'm going to tell you, because Mercury's retrograde, that means that I'm going to have some issues today, most likely, on top of the fact that it's at 4 degrees Taurus, which means it's in trine to my 4-degree Virgo Mercury in my natal chart, and I also have a retrograde Mercury, so it's in positive aspects. So you would think that that's a good thing, but it is retrograde, and it's my ruler of my sun and 4 other planets in my chart, so we're going to probably have an interesting time. Anyway, and I also want to tell you, if you want to call in for a reading, the number is 347-994-3365, and if you just push 1, then I know you are in line for a reading once you call in. Okay, so anyway, we've got Venus up there coming up. Well, it's not going to actually join up with Neptune, but it is in the same house. And Neptune in Pisces is actually, so Venus answers to Neptune because Venus is in Pisces. So she's in, like, up above her head in water. She's definitely dealing with a lot of emotion and the deep resonance in the psyche, things that are hidden, things that we have to deal with from the past. And let's see what else we have here. We've also got Mercury, oh, well, Mercury is retrograde. And of course, retrograde means that Mercury is moving back towards Aries. And so what's in Aries? 24 degrees is Uranus, and the sun is at 21, which is also the topic of today's show, Uranus and the sun joining. So, real quick side note that next week's show was going to be Pluto retrograde. We will talk about that a little bit this week, and probably a lot the week after next. So it'll be the 25th, I believe. What's my mouth? Yeah. Don't trust my mouth today because Mercury is retrograde. Okay, so anyway, Mars at 23 Taurus. So let's just kind of take it slow down here. So Mars is in trine to Pluto. He is just past an exact trine. So he's about 4 degrees past an exact trine. And there's an idea in the kind of astrology called horary, Horary, which is the kind of astrology you do for a particular question. You do a chart in the moment, and it becomes the chart of that question. So it's more of looking for answers in that chart as if it were you were casting a reading, kind of like reading tarot cards. But in astrology, when you do that kind of chart, then the placement of the planets is more, it's about the approaching aspects as opposed to the separating aspects. And I've definitely started integrating some of that mindset into my readings, so more into how I read. So even though Mars is in trine to Pluto, he's not going retrograde this year, and so that means he's not going to be going back to Pluto. So he's pretty much done with the Pluto energy. He's pulling away from it, and it isn't going to be a story again for a couple of years. So we don't have to deal, even though it's a trine, that means it's a major life change around money. Now, you may be feeling the fallout still of this energy because he did actually talk to Pluto. He was right on Pluto recently. And let me just, actually, I'm going to go over to my ephemeris on the computer so I can tell you. So he was talking to, let's see, he's in Taurus. So I have to readjust my thinking here vertically as opposed to pages. I'm on a digital computer ephemeris. And if you don't know what an ephemeris is, that's the chart of where the position of the planets and some asteroids are at any given day. It's like a table of the months. It's like a calendar table where the positions of the planets are. And astrologers use that so they can kind of eyeball what position planets are in. And for me, I'm a visual person. I really like to, and I'm also kind of old school because I like books and things, but this lays it out right there easily on the computer. And I have it at astro.com. Usually when I look for it, I just type in whatever year I'm looking for, plus the word ephemeris, Ephemeris, and that'll pop up whichever year I want. And I've gone to 1964, that's my birthday, so I go back and forth through those years or any other year I want to look at. So Taurus was at 19 degrees, or excuse me, Mars was at 19 degrees Taurus 2 days on the 6th and 7th of April. So right after that date, he pretty much was out of alignment with Pluto. So what else? He also, see, Uranus is at 24 Aries, and he was already in Aries, so he already passed. I was just looking at some numbers on the ephemeris. Anyway, you have to bear with me today. I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm a little scatterbrained. Gonna just lay it out there. And that just means that I have a lot more energy coming in and a lot more information for you all. So it's a good thing, right? We're just going to stick with that story. And happy Passover. Passover begins today. So, anyway, the Mars pulling away from Pluto means that the story around money and structure and systems is kind of waning, but Pluto in trine to Mars in Taurus means that it was a good time to actually gain money or gain love or run into someone who may change your life, or have a situation around money that can be life-changing or at the very least direction-changing. So you may have found out some information that was to your benefit, or took a new tack on how to deal with money or finances, or even diet, because Taurus also rules diet in your life. Um, we've got this, well, the sun approaching Uranus is our topic today, so I kind of want to hold off on that for a second, just until I get all the other planetary aspects out of the way. And so we'll talk about Mercury. Mercury went retrograde this week, just a few days ago. Let me just look. Oh, and Venus goes direct this week. Yay, the 15th, which is Saturday. Very excited about that. So, yeah, Mercury we talked about last week, I believe it was, because I'm looking for it and I'm not seeing it. Where are you, Mercury? I know you just recently went retrograde. I don't know why I can't find it on this. I'll just look on my bigger ephemeris. It'll be quicker. So, where the heck are you? See, I don't memorize these things. That's why I have to check my books and things. Okay, retrograde on the 10th. So, yes, yesterday. Was it really yesterday? Oh, I'm so sad. It wasn't yesterday. My mind, oh, there it is. It's the 9th. Although, according to my ephemeris, it just shows the dates. It doesn't show the times on this particular ephemeris, although I have a book that I consult that does tell the hour and the day and the time. So it's 7:14 on Sunday evening. So it's been retrograde for just a little over a day. And so Mercury in Taurus, it is going back over what we've already felt and discussed around money and love. That's our theme. So if you've got some issues coming up around that, and then Mercury is also, it rules thoughts and the thought around material goods. Taurus is the materiality of life. It rules the body. It's the second house ruler. So the first house is coming into this world. The second house is the physicality of being here. It's the earth energy. So Mercury is an air sign. It's about thought. And in Taurus, it brings it down to earth and it brings our thoughts to the material realm. So anyone with Mercury in Taurus can be more materialistic or spend a great deal of time thinking about how to make money. So if that's you, that's part of the reason why, if you're not a Mercury in Taurus native, you're feeling it now. And we do want to earn more money. I mean, I think, who doesn't want to earn more money? But it becomes more obsessive and more our minds as a predominant thought. So also, because Mercury is in Taurus, it rules the material world, and it can also retrograde, create, like you can see with me, a little disconnect thought-wise, thought patterns. So you have to be more careful out on the road, because Mercury energy is about transportation, but it's also about the material goods, so things can break right now. Things around beauty, like, I know you might think it's a little strange. I'm just trying to think of things that are related. So beauty items, you may run out of your favorite eyeshadow, or your hairbrush will break, or something that is associated with beauty, the beauty realm. When Mercury goes back into Aries, which is the 21st of April, then we can see more things that are related to temper and, things that are more emergency oriented again. And also that's the Sun Uranus energy coming up here as well. And we'll get to that. So let's see, Saturn at 27 Sagittarius, which is in trine to the Sun, Uranus, and Mercury. So we've got Saturn retrograde currently, and of course we talk a lot about this, going back over the old energy around travel and playfulness. It rules musicians and comedians and real estate and property, things like that. Interestingly, I have someone in my family who just sold a house last week. So, Mercury in Taurus and Mars in Taurus, actually Mars in Taurus and Saturn and Sag probably more strongly, but they are also in inconjunct right now. So that tells me that there may be something that isn't completely out in the open or hasn't been thought about, or the person may not come to the table. They may be from another place and can't get there, can't move. So that can be a little bit of difficulty. So I wish my sister the best, but I'm not so sure that things are going to continue to go smoothly with that offer. Not that it won't have another one, but definitely Mars in conjunct to Saturn can create some issues around disconnect between material goods and business, sales, retail sales, and the goods of sales, and foreign energy. It's going to be not meeting of the minds. So like they're coming at it from two different angles. One person wants to do something a certain practical way. The other side is willing to let things go and see how it falls and doesn't want to be restricted, because Saturn in Sagittarius is a very freedom-loving energy. Sagittarius is. Saturn wants to create the environment that helps that part of your chart own that energy. So while it's almost a paradox, Saturn wants to restrict so that it can show the sign it's in that this is something they need to pay attention to. Ironically, Saturn's in a freedom-loving sign, so the restriction is not wanted, and yet that actually creates the impetus for the expansion of the freedom, and the desire just gets deeper set with people wherever it is in your chart. So we definitely can go over the Saturn and Sagittarius with the calls today. Okay, so Moon conjunct Jupiter just went past 17 degrees overnight and is now at 26 degrees Libra on its way to full moon. And I don't have the degree. Let me see if I can find the degree here. Yeah, I don't have the degree. I guess I could do a chart for that time. Oh, no, I take it back. It's at 21. That can't be. Tuesday. Hold on a minute. Why is this not registering? I know why it's not registering, because it happened last night. That's why. Because my Mercury retrograde is having another effect on me. The full moon was last night, yes, at 21 degrees and is just passed. So Jupiter right there near the full moon retrograde. So that's going to affect long-distance relationships. So if you've had a long-distance relationship, know that there may be some information that came out that you didn't know about. And from the looks of it, it's probably another person involved somewhere along the line that is influencing the relationship. You've got an opposition between Moon and Jupiter, which is transition and expansion. And also can be the triangle, which I've said before, the fulcrum of the scales in the symbol of Libra creates that balance. So it creates a third energy, a third entity within that partnership that helps keep the balance, something to balance on. So in a good marriage, I would say probably two people are either side of the scales, and the center would be the marriage. And as long as the focus is on the marriage, then that becomes the third entity. But it can get out of whack, and the out of balance means that there may be another reflection of the balance that is needed, and that can be another person. Now, the opposition is Sun, Uranus, and Mercury, all in two different signs, Aries for Sun and Uranus, and Taurus for Mercury. And Taurus is coming back towards Uranus. Uranus is the energy of independence, of independent thinking, but it is a power center. It is a power energy. It wants autonomy. It wants to think for itself. Aries is aggression, assertiveness, masculine energy, and it rules taking action. It rules things that are done with the hands, like carpentry, but it's also emergency workers and fire people and policemen and emergency situations. So definitely we're in this opposition that is connected to transition around multiple people or societies, which is also Uranus, by the way, and ego versus cooperation. So doing things on my own versus no, how do we do it together? And Jupiter is kind of like, actually Jupiter retrograde is acting more responsible right now. And so it's wanting to cooperate, but there isn't cooperation to be had. It is freedom loving. It is don't tell me what to do. And that's what's going to happen when the Sun joins up with Uranus. And let's see when that happens. See, last week's show, I know we talked about this because I was telling you more about that Aries energy and the Uranus. And here we go, 1:30 a.m. on Friday Pacific and, nope, Eastern, 10:30 Pacific on the 13th, this Thursday. So we're kind of going closer and closer to this degree of expression and explosion. And I know I mentioned last week something about chemicals are also the realm of Uranus. And we talked about Uranus going into Taurus, and that was going to bring up more chemical issues and things like that. Definitely that has come to the fore with the chemical warfare going on in Syria, and we see that. And it's just, I mean, that's the chemical aspect in Aries. It's chemical warfare, sadly. I'm really upset. I only wanted to touch on it to say that's an example of what I was saying last week about the chemical connection. So as this is going on in the world, we're moving closer and closer to the energy of explosion with trying to express what is already going on. It's just a reflection of this energy. It's a reflection of society. And Mercury in Taurus, it's very slow take action, but by the time it hits Aries, that together, Aries, Uranus, or Mercury and Uranus again, that is storms. So definitely, let me see what date actually Mercury joins with Uranus back in Aries. So Mercury goes back to on the 20th and then gets back to the 24th, the last day. And I've looked at this again and again and again in different readings. The 29th and 30th of this month are going to be very intense. I'm just giving you a huge heads up. You've got the moon in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is retrograde. It gets to 24 degrees, which Mercury rules thought, rules electricity, rules the unexpected, communications, computers, all that electrical, neurological energy that is the modality that information is spread through on an energetic level. It's the mind, it's the spine, it's neurology. And it's also electronics and small electrical appliances and electrical systems, batteries, anything like that. And then it's joining up with Uranus, which is magnified version of Mercury. And that's in Aries, which means this really is a time of explosion. It's a clashing. It's an energetic release, which is really what needs to happen. Aries, 24 degrees, Uranus is late degree, which means it's culminating some energy, culminating what it has been really bringing out in our psyche over the last 8 years as it's traveled through this energy. Actually, I don't need, well, I'm not going to go there. Sorry, my intellect is kind of scattered, as you can tell today, but really trying to rein it in, get that Taurus energy, get that Earth energy, be in the grounded present. So this energy is with Mercury in Taurus, that's the Earth. So that's bringing it into the material. When Mercury gets back into fire, it expresses through fire and through explosions and chemistry, chemicals, which is what Uranus does. So the sun moving in conjunction as well means that they're all clustered at this one point in the sky, which is really meant to release the Aries electrical energy. So we will probably have storms. Venus is in Pisces now, coming up on Neptune. So if you remember, last week or the week, no, I think it was last week, we had that big storm transit across the country and hit, I think it was 15 million people. It's that kind of energy again. It's going to be more storms, more electrical, more wind, more fire. I've had fires here the last 2 days. My daughter took an amazing photo of this fire that was just about 10 miles away from my house. And that's air, which is Uranus. So that's the kind of energy we can expect. And Sun is ego. Sun is initiating energy, but it's really in the latter degrees of the sign. So what Sun wants to do is, it hasn't gotten its point across till now, or if it hasn't in your personal life, there will be explosions. There will be tantrums. There will be the kind of thing that will change things. Because Jupiter, remember, Jupiter's opposite. Jupiter wants things to transition and move forward and change. That's its purpose. So having Jupiter opposite the sun today, I mean, it's a few degrees past, but the fact that these planets are clustered and they're pulling in two opposite directions, and then in the middle is Pluto in Capricorn, which is the physicality, again, Capricorn structure. So we have this giant tug of war going on in the sky with energy and thought and intention. And Pluto is trying to ground it and make it balanced. If you can picture that scale with a fulcrum, the scale with the middle point that it balances on, Pluto's the middle point. It's a big T-square in the sky with Uranus, Sun, and Mercury on one end, Jupiter and Moon on the other, and Pluto's in the middle trying to balance it all out and be the authority figure. But Pluto energy wants to dig out the old ugly and bring it out, and or hide it, as the case may be, but it is the deep inner fears or the deep understanding on an intuitive level of the structure, because Capricorn, it expresses through Capricorn, through the structure, through the system. So this truly is, on so many different levels, a very strong time of shift and change. It's in our lives. If you have a sun in Libra, Aries, or Capricorn, you're feeling this more particularly potent, as well as Cancer. Whatever placement any of the cardinal signs are in your chart are feeling this stress, and that expresses in your life. So you're feeling the pressure, you're feeling the pressure cooker, and it wants to explode. Added to that, we have an inconjunct with the Moon, Jupiter, and Mars as well. So not only is there an inconjunct with Saturn for Mars, there's also an inconjunct, which my chart, the one I'm looking at now, doesn't actually show the inconjunct between Saturn and Mars, but it's there. And then on the other side, you have the Jupiter-Moon conjunction also inconjunct, and so that means that there's a sextile between Saturn and Jupiter. So there's something about the energy of a relationship and the distance that the two of you have, and the structure as well as careers that are being stressed out with that aspect, because that creates a finger of God to Mars, and Mars is taking action around money. So money is a stressor right now that's expressing in a lot of relationships. And, you know, I can go all over this chart, but I want to get to callers. So that's that part of the show for today, and I'm going to do a quick break, and then I'm going to come back and take calls. So we're just going to take a nice mellow break here. Hey, welcome back. My name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and you are listening to the AstroEnergy Show on Blog Talk Radio. I just wanted to quickly touch on a couple things. Oh, also, if you want to get a private reading with me, I do readings at astrologerangel.com. You can get me there anytime, and just shoot me an email, or there's a little contact window at the bottom right that'll pop up. There's a bar across the top. It's really easy to contact me for a reading. Also, I was just looking at this on break, and next week we're going to have a guest, so I won't be able to really touch on it, so I want to just touch on it now. Pluto goes retrograde on the 20th of April, and the very same day Mercury goes into Aries. That's a very big day, and so it's going to be quite powerful. Of course, Mercury going into Aries, and then Pluto's in a cardinal sign as well, going retrograde, that there is some strong energy around the same themes we've been dealing with. And again, that's just added fuel to the fire on the 20th. So this whole month really is about expressing that deep inner anger. Venus squares Saturn on the 21st at 7:08 a.m. So again, retrograde. So Venus, this is women energy too. Today, or yesterday, I had the article up that Gorsuch went in, got sworn in, I think it was probably yesterday, as a Supreme Court judge, and he's ultra-conservative. That's going to be a difficult energy for women, but it's also going to be difficult for him around women, because Venus being back in Pisces, it is the old story around how women are treated, the old cycle. And as Venus gets back into Aries, she is going to come out with a vengeance. This is like when she was already in Aries to begin with, she was starting to feel like, hey, these issues are more important. Women are rising, women's marches, etc. She goes back into Pisces, then there's the old way, hey, sit down, little lady, just let the men take care of it. That kind of attitude, and that's kind of what this Supreme Court judge energy is about, being ultra-conservative. When Venus goes back into Aries, it's going to be for a fight, on top of the fact she'll be moving closer to Uranus, and then the Mercury retrograde, and the Sun ultimately she will join up with. I don't know if it'll be by the end of this month, but there's that. And then Venus does go direct on the 15th, and so she is no longer going back rehashing the old story. Then she's going to wrap up the old story starting the 15th through the 29th when she goes into Aries again. So the 29th Venus is in Aries, and then right at the end of the month we have this cluster of conjunctions and shifting signs. And then I just wanted to make mention that Easter is this Sunday, so I hope you have a lovely Easter. The Sun goes into Taurus on the 19th, and I think that pretty much covers those. Oh, and Mars goes into Gemini on the 21st, and then the same day Venus squares Saturn. So much going on, and I will try and write a blog on astrologerangel.com. I'm a couple blogs down. I really want to get to some writing this week if I can. Let me see, today's Tuesday. Yeah, I can get to some writing, and I'll do a blog. So definitely follow me on Facebook and my website, and I'm also on YouTube, which I'm trying to get more followers. So if you have it in mind, go to YouTube and click the little subscribe button there on YouTube. And you can also get some the podcasts I put up on YouTube as well, archived podcasts. So, all right, now we're going to go and take a reading. So let's see, 732. Hi, 732. How are you?
Hi. Good morning, Shelley. This is Caroline. I'm great. And how are you?
Hi, Caroline. I'm doing fine. I'm doing as good as I can with that Mercury retrograde. So,
yeah,
have you called this? Go ahead.
It's very busy, kind of, all the environment, all kinds. I don't even pay attention to, well, I don't watch TV, but that's a no-no
really?
in the circumstances. So it's kind of like a different energy, right? I'm a Libra, so I think Saturday.
Oh, yeah, that's an inconjunct. So that makes it a little more difficult for you, even though you both have Venus rulers. Venus is retrograde, so that just adds to it.
Wow. So
what's your birthday?
October 9 of 54.
Okay. And do you know where you were born? I would
Where?
assume in time. Time.
I was born in Lisbon, Portugal. So, do you need a
Okay.
time?
Awesome.
It's 2:56
Yeah.
a.m.
I'm sorry. What was that?
2:56 a.m.
2:56 a.m. Okay. Wow, that's awesome that you know what time you were born.
Yeah, I got it
I
from
just
a
want to make
meet.
sure.
Would you
I'm
believe?
sorry to keep cutting you off. I just want to get this. You said you were born in 54, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to double check that I had that right. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead now. It's fine.
Oh no, I got my birthday. My mom told me I was born really early in the morning. She never really told me the time, but she did tell me. She said close to 3 a.m. And then just a couple of years, I got it from a medium.
Oh, very
and then
cool.
I got an opinion from another medium. 2:56 a.m.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting because I actually, my grandmother, I never knew what time she was born, and I have a friend who is a medium, and she's like, we were talking, my grandmother came through, and she said, I said I never knew what time because she was telling me about, she's an Aries. The medium brought through that my grandmother was an Aries, and I said, yeah, and I never knew the time. And she's like, well, do you want to know? Because I do. I'm like, yes. And she's like, 11:18 a.m. Like, awesome. So yeah, you can
Wow.
get birth times from mediums if they pick up on that. It can happen. So that's very cool.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, what can I do for you today? You've got some time. I've got lots of listeners in the queue, but nobody's raised their hand to get a reading, so I've got some time for you.
So beautiful, because I'll have questions. I'm going to have a new project coming up in October, end of September. It's a live event, and I'd like to know, I'm thinking mostly going to October. Not only that, but it'll be a great birthday gift. Starting like October, more time to market this, because then another question would be, I'm looking at 3 events, within that. But what would be the right time? End of September, October? I was thinking around October 6th, around there.
You're thinking around October 6th? Okay, that's funny.
Yeah,
okay. I'm just always about the relationships, and October 6th is my parents' anniversary, so that's kind of interesting to me. Hang on a second, and I'll just look for that particular date. So you want to market? Is that what you said?
Well, I have enough time between now and October to market. I was thinking the end of September. I don't know why. I want October. To me, October is my lucky month. Not because of my birthday.
Libra's good. Yeah, the Libra energy is always really, and for you, you know why? It's because you have Sun and Neptune in your second house of money. So it is very fortunate. And you're really good with partnership, because that's that energy, marriage. Doing money can come from marriage, and it can come from partners. So let's see, October, it's your solar return close to it, within a couple days of your solar return, so that's always good. Mercury is also a couple degrees off. It's Mercury and Sun are at 13 for Sun and 11 for Mercury on the 6th. And then the Sun is within 2 degrees of your natal Sun at 15. And actually, it's the midheaven. If you do it this time of day, around 11:30, that's the midheaven. So you will be in the spotlight, and you will get more attention for it if you're looking to do that. So, and then Venus will be in close to the midheaven, about 7 degrees off the midheaven. That's also material goods. Is this something that relates to healing? Because at that time, Venus and Mars will both be in Virgo, which is really good for healing products.
Well, this is like I'll say lecture workshop, and it's actually a medium that is a friend of mine, but he's not from here. He's from England. So, and it's going to be in an Ivy League university. So this is a teaching level lecture, and then readings. And then that's one event. Then the second event is be in a theater, small theater, And then I'm looking for a third one, because I like to do things in threes. So that one, I'm also, it's within the same town, so I'm also looking for a third one. So, but you're right about this. That'll have a healing effect, because like when mediums speak, and they give that reading, it becomes very, soothing for the soul, as we well know.
Right. Right.
Confirmation.
Yeah. Definitely it's a really nice looking chart for a lot of different reasons because the moon and Uranus will be conjunct. Let me double check. Friday, October. Yeah. Moon and Uranus are conjunct on that day, and so there's some energy around action and activity and more of the channeling energy. Of course, Jupiter is also still opposing them. So you've got like the trace energy from what I just discussed before I brought you on about the opposition, but Jupiter's at 29 degrees Libra. So it's like finishing off of something, and quite honestly, if you could even do it a little bit after and get Jupiter into Scorpio, that could be even better. Because it will, let me look here real quick for you. It goes in on October 11th. So, and that's really interesting because I had the 11th. That's the first day I picked. You said October, so I put up October 11th. That was the day I initially picked the chart for when you said October, and that actually would be a better date. And then Venus goes into Libra on the 15th. So even if it's just like a week later or a week and a half later, you're going to have, they'll be out of the later degrees and switch signs. And I think it'll be better overall. And then honestly, like in the midsection is the best time. You've got Mercury going into Scorpio on the 18th, which means that Mercury will be joining Jupiter right away. Mercury and Jupiter, which is communication and expansion in the sign of Scorpio, which is really good mediumistic energy. So if I had my choice, I would choose like October 18th. That has Moon in Libra, which is balanced, just goes into Libra, and then you've got Mercury and Scorpio joining Jupiter, and Venus is in Libra, which Libra is a balanced cooperative sign. It's in your house of money. So those are all really good energies. I would pick that.
Yeah, and if you add the numbers, 8 plus 1 is a 9. That's the completion there. That's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
you're welcome.
I'm also expecting. Can I ask you another question?
Sure.
Okay. I'm expecting a contract. It's a book publishing contract for one of my clients.
Okay.
And do you think coming up within like the month of May?
The month of May. Okay. Let me look at May real quick.
Little finances.
Okay. Hang on. So May, and let me grab your chart and put the two together. There we go. Okay, so I did it for May 11th. Today's the 11th, so I just changed the month and then popped it up for quickness. But let's see, Jupiter. What day does Jupiter go direct? I want to see how long it takes. I thought it was June. I thought Jupiter goes direct, June 10th. Is that the date that's kind of what you're anticipating is going to happen?
Well, I
mean, in May, you expect it to happen in May?
Yeah, I didn't know if it was May or June.
Okay. Well, Mercury would be not only writing but also contracts, and Mercury goes direct on at 24 degrees on the 4th of May. So definitely that can help you. And let me see, it goes direct at 24. It's actually in your house of commitment when it goes direct, and it's 1 degree away from Uranus in Aries also. So that can be the major push, the major time of shift for you. And then when it gets out of that house, it's literally only 1 degree away. Well, actually 2 when it goes direct. So it's 2 degrees off of the cusp going into your 9th house. And so a shift of houses also is a good trigger for events to happen. So when Mercury goes direct, it hits Uranus, then it goes into a new house. So there will be a shift early May for sure. And because Mercury is contracts, I would say if you signed it in the first week of May, it's probably likely that that's when it's going to happen. After that, there's going to be kind of moving on to other things, more expression of the educational side of things and learning. But the contract side is Mercury going back. Yeah, it isn't right now. It's still in your 9th house, but when it goes into the 8th, that's the contracts.
Beautiful.
And then also Venus will be in that house at that time in Aries, which is taking action. So action around commitment.
Well, sounds great.
And Yeah, and it's the 8th house, and you've got your 3rd house in your chart is ruled by Scorpio. Well, it's ruled by Libra technically, which is books, but Scorpio is the next major influence in that house, and you have Mercury, which is books, and Saturn, which is career. So is this your career? Is that what you choose? Because I would say like romance novels or mysteries, either one would be really good for you.
I like that stuff.
Yeah, not surprising. And also the kind of ghosty ghoulies Scorpio energy is really into like, mysteries and hauntings and things like that too. So you could do that kind of stuff too. Mediumistic. I mean, you're really good medium. Do you do medium work, mediumship?
I'm intuitive, but it's kind of intuitive in a way that it's all like a knowing and a feeling and an energy around me. That's how I'm not a medium yet, but I would love to be one.
Well, Jupiter might do it for you because Jupiter is education, and it's going into your house of communication and elementary education, thought, and that's where your Saturn, Mercury, and Scorpio are. And so definitely after October this year, Jupiter going into Scorpio is going to give you opportunities for using that. And it's a psychologist too. Saturn in Scorpio is a psychologist and a therapist. So there's some energy on all those things. And when Jupiter goes in, it wants to shine a light there and say, hey, what are you doing about this? Are you playing with this? Are you doing something to expand this realm? And it really actually also makes you very self-motivated, or, you're going, wait a minute, I've done this for everybody before, now I have to do it for me. And so you're really going to start to do what it takes to manifest something on your own behalf, as instead of always looking to the other person first, you're going to do some things for yourself. And that's going to be really good. Jupiter in Scorpio, while it's intense, is actually going to be in positive aspect to Pluto coming up by the end of the year as well. And that's like a major shift in thinking, in drive, in direction. And for you, it's going to be a big change for you.
Oh,
so,
thank you.
Yeah,
so
exciting.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay. All right. Well, let us know how it goes. Okay?
Thank you. I will. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.
So much.
Bye.
Oh.
Okay, let's see here. We've got 818. Hi, 818. How are you?
Oh, hi, Shelley. I'm so happy to talk to you. I listen to your show, and when I know there's an empty spot, I'm just right all over it.
Yay.
So I have a birthday in 19 days, and I'm just wondering if there's anything that pops out that might be exciting to know that's going to change. Because, a new year begins a new beginning, some thinking.
Making sure. This is Diane, right?
Yes, Diane. I'm sorry I didn't say that from California.
It's okay. It's okay. No, I've got you here. I kind of suspected it was you, but I have a few people with that prefix, so I'm like, okay. I just searched through my files till I found the one whose birthday was in 19 days, and it was you, and I knew it was Diane anyway, so I'm like, okay, we're good.
That's very funny.
Okay, so I'm sorry. What were you saying again? You have something coming up that you wanted to look at?
No, I'm wondering what is coming up in my chart that might pop out to you that would be something new.
Have mercy. What's been going on with career and home and family? Like the majority of what's going on falls to career, work, family, and then the transiting Saturn is in creativity. But so much is going on with the axis I was talking about. The Aries-Taurus axis is all up in your house of career, and then the Libra axis, and you have natal Neptune and Saturn at 22 in your house of home and family. So that's being triggered by the Jupiter full moon today. So what's going on with that? I'm just telling you that those are the areas. And so if you tell me what you're experiencing, I can give you more fine tune and let you know what is coming up with that. So you got a lot of career stuff coming up.
That's what I was going to ask you, because right now, what I do, I sell real estate, and I don't go looking for it. I let it come to me.
Awesome. Yay. Oh, that's so good, because you have Saturn in your 4th house. home and family. You let it come to you, and I'm just setting myself up to do the same thing. And I have Saturn there too, so that's really cool. I love that.
Oh, wow, I'm glad. Oh, that's good to know, though, that I'm doing it right. So this the first time this has ever happened, but it happened a couple, I think 2 weeks now. I had to cancel the listing that I had because there was an issue with the home inspection 2 times, and she's not going to reduce the price, and that's fine. So it's just to cancel. So that was a very unusual thing to happen because every deal, thank God, I know how to make it work.
Right.
So, are you seeing more coming in on or more?
Yeah.
Not like this one, right?
You're
I don't know.
You're in a really strong cycle. So the Mercury retrograde in Taurus is coming up. Like it's already past your Sun, but it is going to affect what you're doing in your career. You're going to have those. Okay, remember Mercury's contracts. Taurus, it rules property. It rules money, so anything, possessions, money, and property. So anything that has to do with that. Real estate is Saturn also. Saturn's retrograde right now. Sagittarius, excuse me. I assign Sagittarius to real estate because that was a huge, that was the topic of the Pluto going from Sag to Capricorn. It was that bubble bursting. And so ever since then, it's like Sagittarius is real estate as a realm. And so definitely right now is a bit difficult for real estate, but I can tell you Jupiter, it's in Libra, it retrograded. So there's some stuff going on for you because, of course, you have 22 Saturn, Neptune conjunct in your house of home and family. Jupiter is expanding all that desire for your dreams to come true around career and what you're doing and partnership and home and family. But as Jupiter goes retrograde, it kind of gets back out of that house and goes back into thought. So you have to really focus on the partnership side, and it may be somebody in your family. Have you been partnering with someone in your family at all?
No, but my brother is talking about moving, and he and I are negotiating.
Okay.
He almost wants me to do it for free, but he is my brother. But I kind of didn't want to because there's a lot of money involved. So
maybe you can negotiate a split. Like just split it in half or something. Split the fee.
Exactly. That's what we're talking. That would be a possibility too. That probably would be the best answer.
Right. And right now, Mercury, I don't talk about this often, but Mercury rules siblings and neighbors. So Jupiter goes back into your third house, which is the sibling neighbor's house. The third house is Gemini, and that's the energy that rules siblings and neighbors. And then Mercury is at your top of your chart in money and in your career house. So definitely renegotiating, if you can put an RE in front of it, that is going to help you. And Jupiter rules Sag, so that's the real estate. So going back over and renegotiating or redoing, if you do it before Jupiter goes direct or Mercury goes direct, I can tell you that you're going to change it after they do go direct. So you might want to wait.
That's not until May, correct?
Well, Mercury goes direct the end of April. Yeah.
Right.
Let me see. Or actually, I take it back. It goes direct the 4th of May.
Oh, okay. So then that's good to know. May would be the call. And the neighbor. Right. I have a neighbor who I'm very good friends with, and he talks about moving. So there you go. I would be his realtor if he chooses to sell.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I'm following exactly what you're telling me. This is a good thing.
Yeah.
Well,
I can tell you.
What about?
Before you tell me your one last thing, I want to tell you my one last thing. September. You've got the whole. I may have told you this before when you called, but the whole first week of September, huge, fortunate time for you. It's going to be transition and change and shift, and could be a move. Probably a move, something foreign coming in, but Jupiter is at 22 degrees Libra, which is right on your Neptune, and it's direct. It's the last pass it has before it goes into Scorpio. So it's really fortunate. It's wrapping up the old story around the old dream around your home and your family, and it's shifting you to a new dream. Okay?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
That's like
September, the whole first week.
Numbers? This is a winner. Oh, no, you did not tell me that because that will That's like neon in my mind now. I can't
really?
forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole first.
Oh yeah.
week.
When you give me dates, that's really good. So as far as past relationships, now that it's Mercury retrograde, I think it's an addictive relationship, like you had mentioned earlier. Do you see anything coming back? Or we broke up 3 weeks ago, really kind of permanent. But now I've been thinking about him, and I didn't realize it was Mercury retrograde.
Well, no, what's affecting you more? Well, it is Mercury retrograde in Taurus. Is like I said, it's the new romance is coming in, but Venus retrograde in Pisces is what did I do? How did that? What was going on with that? Venus was in Aries when that broke up, and now it's in Pisces, which means you're going back over that old relationship, kind of addictive. And when it goes direct and gets out of that sign back into Aries, the end of the month, you won't have those feelings again. And just as a visual for this, it's not the same situation, but it translates the same. I have a computer, and I know my computer is getting close to being needed to be replaced, but I'm not ready to do it till Mercury's direct, and I've known it for a month. I knew what was coming. I knew Venus was retrograde and Mercury was retrograde, and so it's affected every time Venus is in Pisces. I'm like, would you just stop? And the thing is, it goes away. It doesn't stay broken. It'll come back. My keyboard, my mouse, and my computer have all been acting up with Venus in late degrees of Pisces, all of them, different reasons. Yesterday my keyboard didn't work and my mouse didn't work. Today my keyboard works and my mouse works. So it's one of the things, my point is, it's not permanent. So the feelings that you're feeling, and I'm not saying the relationship breakup isn't permanent. I think that is. But the feelings and the wistfulness and the sentimentality over it is not permanent. Venus is in Pisces as a last, hey, this is what you went over. It's kind of like reviewing what you've ordered before you put it in. And you're like, okay, you said you wanted this. Is that really what you still want? When Venus was in Aries, you ordered. Venus went back into Pisces, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I wanted it. When Venus goes back into Aries, you do want what you ordered. You just have a little bit of buyer's remorse. That's what this is. So
I love your interpretation. It's so easy to
and I've got all sorts of metaphors, mixed metaphors like galore. But
it works. I thank you, Shell. I looked at the clock. You're so good to me. Thank you. Love you so much.
I love you too. All right, take care, Diane. Good luck to you on your real estate ventures.
Thank you, darling.
All right, that's the show. Thank you. Next week, remember Leo Bonomo. Awesome medium, and he's a really nice guy too. You're going to enjoy the show, and definitely if you see it on Facebook, I promote it on Facebook, share it because other people could find out about it, and it would be really enjoyable. Take care, and we'll see you next week with Leo. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com. To subscribe, please click the picture of Shelley on the right or the red button below.